unbelievably well. And so that's cool on that note. Michelle Gardner, Arizona Republic, covers Arizona State. And we've had Michelle on before. And of course, today some news about some assistants. Again, the shuffling of what is the staff under Herm Edwards. Michelle, thanks for your time on Sikkim 365 Radio. Was today's news any surprise, or was this kind of something that was just a matter of time before it was coming?
Well, I'm a little bit surprised that it's Zach Hill before maybe Antonio Pierce, since Antonio is the recruiting coordinator, and a lot of these alleged NCAA violations are in regard to that. So maybe in that respect, I'm a little bit surprised. So, yeah, I mean, needless to say, first thing this morning, that's the news we woke up to, that Zach Hill was departing as offensive coordinator. The other news that school has officially severed ties with the other three assistant coaches who had been previously put on administrative leave, and that happened in August. That's not so much of a surprise, because if those gentlemen were put on leave back in August, you had to know that they weren't going to be part of the program moving forward. So that part of it was not necessarily a surprise.
Why not Antonio Pierce? And they seem to say that he'll be back this year, right?
That's the understanding. I think it's just not a matter of if, but when Antonio Pierce goes to. Sometimes you have to go for the low-hanging fruit first, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. In order to keep the investigation going, maybe they want to have him still kind of in there and whatnot. But I think he will be another victim of this whole thing. I just think it's a matter of when. But, I think they're kind of pecking off the low-hanging fruit. I love that expression. I think they're starting with the lower guys first and probably working their way up.
Michelle, what's just kind of the feel right now regarding, the ongoing investigation? And we know from personal experience, watching Baylor go through it and several other schools go through it over the years. I mean, this is a thing that can really drag on. But just what kind of a temperature change has this caused in terms of Herm Edwards and the football program, and just the feeling around Arizona State as this continues?
Oh, it's pretty depressing, really. And even when you go back to what was expected of this team, I think fans are over the Herm Edwards experiment. I hate to say that because I love Herm. He's great to deal with from a media standpoint. He's just a joy. Mm-hmm. But from a fan standpoint, they're kind of over this experiment. And the fact that this team did not live up to expectations this year, they had everybody back. They had 20 starters back. They end up still finishing second behind Utah. It's not necessarily that they lost, it's how they lost, the undisciplined play. So fans are just kind of really over the Herm Edwards experiment, and it breaks my heart to say that and hear it, but that's kind of the status of it. And, you look at their recruiting class, and obviously this investigation thing shows there are repercussions when it comes to trying to bring in high school players to a program where they may not know who their position coach is going to be or their head coach is going to be. So, yes, it's a little bit of a distressing time for the fans that really expected more of this team this year and where they were at.
We like and would love Herm Edwards. We've had him on this show. He's phenomenal. His personality is just so contagious. Is he in trouble? You mentioned that people are a little bit fed up, and plus is there a chance that you have all these others that are kind of being whittled out? Is there a chance that he could be like in this, I guess, wave at some time between now and the start of the season?
It depends what happens moving forward and when what other information comes to light. Now, after the last game of the season, Michael Crow and Ray Anderson went into the ASU locker room and told the team Herm Edwards would be back. And again, you get the vote of confidence, and that doesn't necessarily mean anything. But at the end of the year, the athletic director gave his stamp of approval on Herm moving forward. Now, again, depends what else comes to light between now and the start of the season. And Herm said he had no intention of going anywhere. So I think they're just going to proceed, and we'll see what else comes to light. But I don't see, and the other thing is I don't see Ray firing Herm unless something really comes out, because those two go way back. Ray was Herm's agent when he was in the NFL. So I have a hard time thinking Ray is going to actually fire Herm. Now, it could come down from higher up, But, as of now, they're all proceeding like, hey, spring football is starting in a couple weeks, and, we're moving forward with Herm.
How much does this, though, come down on him being an athletic director?
Oh, I think a lot. And there's a lot of heat on Ray, and it's not just because of football. Basketball's underperformed for a couple of years. The baseball program has been a long, proud tradition here at ASU, and baseball underperformed last year, and the head coach was dispatched last year, and now they've got Willie Bloomquist coming in, and he's kind of, people are excited to have him kind of heading the program, so baseball kind of has been off track. So when you look at kind of the whole atmosphere around ASU athletics, I think Ray is definitely in jeopardy, and he's the one that came in when Herm got hired and touted this, hire, and, we should be in the top 15 every year, and he kind of overpromised and underdelivered. So, and then there have been kind of some other small things smoldering beneath the surface. I don't know how many people are familiar with the case that was pending. A donor, big basketball donor, has been accused. Came forward and accused. Somebody inside the program that was in a support role came in and talked about a donor that came in and was accused of inappropriate advances towards some of the coaches' wives. And that kind of story is out there public too. And Ray supposedly covered that up. So there have been a lot of things under the surface that, in addition to teams underperforming, where I think Ray is definitely, under fire. And you look at the one thing that I kind of come back to too is they're building a brand new, nice hockey arena. Well, that's nice and fine and dandy, but what about your basketball facility that's 50 years old and one of the worst in the Pac-12? And, your basketball should be your money-making revenue sport, and you're building a hockey arena. To me, that makes no sense. I don't know about you guys.
No, yeah.
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So, so I think there are a lot of contributing factors here. And I think Ray is definitely I think he's definitely under the gun.
Michelle, we're going to share some things with you as well. Thanks. We're not done. Michelle Gardner, Arizona Republic on Arizona State. But isn't it interesting when you have something start to develop, and the next thing you know, there's this, and Bobby Hurley and a couple of players got reprimanded or whatever during a basketball game at the end of the game. It just seems like even the smallest things become even larger than they really are, and it just seems like it just never ends for a few weeks.
Well, you know what? I don't know if you've heard this kind of standing joke, and I heard it when I first got here. ASU stands for Always Something University.
We can relate, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you look at the whole Hurley situation from the other night, it's a little bit, he probably definitely warranted a reprimand and a fine. I don't think it called for a suspension. He didn't bump anybody. He walked off the court screaming at them and yelling over his shoulder at them. I've seen coaches do way worse and get penalized far less. So I think that was kind of overblown, and I don't think that suspension was warranted. And especially when you look at the fact that the free throws were 41-9. I mean, how can you expect a coach not to be upset about that, right?
Right, yeah. Yeah, that's a little bit of a discouragement.
Yeah, I think the player.
Any coach would. Yeah. Any coach would.
I think the player that kind of approached the official was probably more of something that thank goodness that didn't lead to more. But I did see the video, and Hurley was just barking. I mean, my God, we've seen a lot worse than that. Even during the game on the court side, he didn't stop and say anything. He was saying something. He's walking. He was smart enough to just kind of walk straight around. Michelle,
absolutely.
And good luck with it. And by the way, thanks for jumping on. I know it's been a busy day, and will continue to be that way. And I love Arizona State. That's where my father received his master's degree. It's a great school, and good luck. And hopefully things kind of start to at least some clarification going forward.
Well, I can say this. Okay, Herm Edwards has a lot of connections and a lot of reach. Okay, I don't think he's going to bring in some novice offensive coordinator. And I don't think that, even though the news broke today, I'm sure that he's had this on his mind for weeks now. And I don't think there's going to be a shortage of candidates that want to come here and work for Herm. So as much as everybody here wants to think the sky is falling, I don't think that that's necessarily the case. Yes, there are more axes to fall and, dominoes to fall with this investigation. But I think, you know how fans are. They get into an angst really fast.
Oh, yeah.
No question.
Yeah. It's the uncertainty that kills you quickly, if you sit there and you stew on it, worry about it. And Herm's NFL connections obviously still paying off. Brian Billiken, right, as an analyst role?
Absolutely. That, and of course, everybody was sky high about that a few days ago. And my understanding is he is not going to be the offensive coordinator. So perish the thought. Obviously, when the news of Zach Hill came out, that's the first thing circulating. Oh, they're going to make Billick the offensive coordinator. No, that's not going to happen. But I think this might be actually a good thing, because I don't think that Jaden Daniels was the best quarterback for the Zach Hill offense. Okay, I think sometimes you should fit a system around a quarterback and not try and fit a quarterback into a system that maybe is not meant for him. So I think that Jaden Daniels needs kind of a quarterback whisperer that can kind of work with him on mechanics, throwing off the right foot. And I think he needs a guy that can come in and work with him like that. And I've been told by a couple different people in kind of familiar with the quarterback room that Jaden Daniels just didn't flourish in the Zach Hill system.
Yeah.
So maybe in the long run, this is a good thing for him, because obviously for this team to have success, they need Jaden Daniels to go back to what he was his freshman year.
Michelle, good stuff. Really good stuff. Thank you very much for being on with us, tracking it down. Busy day for you. And Michelle Gardner covers the Arizona State Sun Devils for the Arizona Republican. We have seen this before, back when Baylor had their stretch of just like first of all, ESPN bought a hotel in Waco, but the crawl every day was about something. And even, don't get me wrong, some of the stuff there was bad, but even on some cases where it was just their name, they became like the Cowboys.
They just
mentioned Baylor.
They just repurposed like a lot of things. They
reworded some stuff,
reworded some things, and repurposed the story.
I feel bad for I don't feel bad, but
it's just how it goes. Like when you step in it, you step in it, and a lot of that comes from the top.
That's culture, man.
Yeah, man, it's culture. So that's the athletic director. So if you've got problems with basketball, if you got problems with football, if you got the baseball team not doing well, that's not those three coaches all having, that starts up there. So, and
hey, I got to know, Baylor tomorrow playing Alabama.